Juzo. What you doing, Juzo? Okay, so making another video. I made this video already, but I realized it looked like I was being inappropriate with myself, the way that I was sitting. Hands right here. Yeah, I guess one of the things I'm going to learn as I do these things more often is to speak clearly and at an even volume, or at least attempt to. And also be aware of where your hands appear to be at all times. Because I'm not trying to do that. Anyway, hey Juzo, what you doing, baby? You come up here? You got your frisbee? You got your frisbee, Juzo? You're actually going to be the subject of my video. Okay, so people get guilt by association and things of the sort, you know, if you hang out with people that seem a certain way. Hold on just a second. People might think that you are the kind of person you spend time with. And unfortunately, the more time you spend with someone, the truer that becomes. But, you know, you're not supposed to judge a good book by its cover, you know. Judge not, lest you be judged yourself, although I don't think the context is... I think that context is important. But anyway, so I had never had a dog of my own, except for when I was a child. It's a family dog, and the dog... Anyway, I'll get to that later. So, Juzo is my first dog. Isn't that right? Now, my ex had a dog, a husky. But this is different. It's like if you're hanging out with a group of friends, and those friends you interact with, but they're not necessarily your friend. So my girlfriend had a dog, but it wasn't really my dog, even though I helped take care of it. But I used to think pit bulls, real long way around that, huh? Pit bulls I used to think were bad or evil or aggressive or mean or whatever. Because like everybody else, somehow we heard this over and over again and it stuck. Well, how many times have you ever heard like certain ethnic groups are a certain way? And you don't want to be a racist, right? So don't be a pedist or a speciesist. But Juzo is my first dog. She belongs to me. We have a bond. And this happened because I got out of a relationship that was my world for a while, or a few years. And when you lose somebody and you don't really want to lose them, you know, it's real hard to let go. And it had been a considerable amount of time, and I was still severely depressed and about as down as I've ever been. I had a dream about dog, puppies, things like that, and you know, I'll spare you the details about that. But I decided I wanted to have a dog. I thought that would be something to love, that wouldn't leave me and wouldn't hold grudges against me, and you know, that I could have a bond with. So I got on Craigslist and I found a dog that looked a lot like the dog in my dream. And the guy still had it. It was a puppy, but kind of an older puppy, you know, like three months old or more. She was born in January. I got her in like May of 2019. Did it? Well, hold on, let's see. Is that right? Yeah, May of 2019. So I get her. She's the sweetest thing, so affectionate right off the bat. And the reason that I had decided that I wanted to look for a pit bull is I'd met a couple in recent history. One was at a animal shelter, and the other one was at a reptile zoo. The owner of the reptile zoo had her, and they were both really sweet. So I thought I'd take a chance and see if they were as sweet as I had recently heard, because, you know, I'd only heard bad things before. She's the sweetest dog. I mean, she is so affectionate. And she's just by my side all the time. So when I got her, I'd had her about a day, and she seemed like she was just kind of run down. And I thought, well, she's a puppy. She's played a lot today. She's just run down. So I let her sleep and, you know, slept next to her. And the next day, I couldn't get her to get interested in anything. And I thought maybe she's depressed. You know, maybe she didn't want to leave the guy that sold her to me. And so by that evening, I was concerned, because she had not had any energy all day, and she'd slept all day, and she had peed the bed that night. And I thought, well, maybe there's something wrong with her. So I took her to the vet after hours, and it turned out she had parvo. Now, there were two things that could be done. If I had the money, I could have her taken care of at the vet for several days. And they try to nurse her back to health, or she, you know, maybe she makes it, maybe she doesn't. Or I could give her the fluid injections and the medicine, and, you know, survey her and keep good watch on her. And so I didn't have a choice about doing the first one, so I did the second one. And that was a good choice, because we really bonded over that. But I didn't know if she'd make it or not. So I decided, you know, I was going to be the sweetest, the nicest, and just love her as much as anybody could love anything, whether she made it or not. So whether it's a day or a few years after, we never know what's going to happen to the people or the animals we love. So I gave her injections. You know, there were multiple ones at first, a few times a day. And as it went on further, they got less and less. But she didn't like it, but she couldn't fight. She didn't have the energy to resist. When she finally did, that was great. You know, I was so happy to see her fighting back, because I knew she was getting better. But at first, she was just not there. She was real lethargic, and I knew she didn't like the needle because of the look in her eyes. So I would sing to her for a few minutes, and just love on her and cuddle her and pet her, and gradually introduce the needle, then do it quickly, you know, quick behind the scruff. And when she finally got to fighting back, I knew she was getting better. So anyway, you know, that was a good thing. And when we got through that, we have a really strong bond. She gets real upset if I go inside to use the bathroom, so I have to put a collar on her that makes a beep and a buzz. The shock is turned off. I don't want her to hurt. But if she doesn't have the collar on, she will cry for me. Like, it sounds like a little puppy. One of my neighbors said that she thought we had a puppy over here, and then she saw it. She's like, "That's not a puppy. That's a big dog." But Juzo's like, she is just so sweet, and she always wants to be next to me. She wants to be a part of whatever I'm doing. Like when I'm playing drums, she'll come put her paws up on my leg and kind of paw at my arm. It makes it hard to practice, but it's sweet. And when I'm playing guitar, if I hit any high notes or any dissonance, her ears go up, and she's like, gets real close. And if I'm doing vocals, especially if I'm doing like death metal gutturals, she'll get real close and lick my mouth like she thinks something's in there that she needs to get out. It's real funny. She's so sweet. But yeah, I would suggest to anybody who's having a real hard time after they've lost a loved one, whether it be to death or to somebody just deciding they don't love you anymore, get a dog. Think about it before you do it, because you don't want to form a bond and then have that animal feel, you know, neglected or abandoned. Because animals do have feelings, I know that, and they're smart enough to be able to interact with you. I mean, I've seen like videos of ravens you know, interacting with their owner, and they understand words and they say words, you know, and like dogs that you can have say, like, I love you and all that. The animals understand in varying degrees. Like dogs have the emotional development of a toddler, you know, and they don't understand what's going on. But you know, if you develop rapport with them and talk to them a lot, they get a better understanding. But if you don't think you're going to keep a dog, don't get one. You know, find a speed dating or a church or, you know, social group or something you can be involved in to get your mind off of it. And maybe volunteer at a hospital. I would have probably done that, except for my back has some severe issues, which is why I do what I do now and don't really have much money at my disposal. But yeah, she's been real good for me, and she loves me, and we have these routines and these habits that are pretty funny. You know, she knows exactly what words mean and body language. You can't hide when you're going somewhere. Like, she wants to go with me. Unfortunately, the truck is in the shop right now, so she hasn't been on the truck ride in a while. But yeah, anyway, long story short, having a dog might be the answer to some depression issues. I know it works for some people, and it's done wonders for me. And hopefully the next video that I do, I will be less mumbly and more used to projecting and using proper diction and elocution. But it's an ongoing experience. I don't have much human interaction except for my father, who I help take care of, and my mother, who I see some, you know, during the day. But it's minimal, so I'm just trying to keep those people skills up by talking to nobody, talking to my reflection in the monitor. Anyway, can't get any worse than I am. Maybe I'll get better as I do these videos. It's all an experiment. And if you do watch my videos for some reason, I'm not going to ask for any money, because why would you do that? And I'm not going to be jumping on the bandwagon of what everybody else does. I'm not chasing an algorithm. I'm not trying to do videos that I've seen as popular. I'm just sharing a little bit of myself with a story or an opinion or some mumbled conversation, one-sided conversation. Anywho,